Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another CS Music Masterclass. I'm so excited that you all have joined us this evening for our very special class with JamiBeth Margolis of Margolis Casting LLC. As you know, she is a casting director who has worked in many of the most prestigious theaters and opera houses. So we're so thankful for her expertise and her time this evening. We have five singers who are currently registered, and those are Allie, Lauren, Siobhan, Jenna, and Olivia. So if all of you are here, if you could just shoot a message in the chat to let me know. And without further ado, I'll hand it over to Jamie Beth to introduce, and we'll get started with some singing. As just a couple of reminders, just remember that everyone needs to be muted except the singer and our presenter tonight for the sake of the technical running smoothly. And we'll be rolling from there. All right.
Great. Thank you. Perfect. Hi, everyone. Welcome. So excited to be with you all tonight for this masterclass. So I'm sure that, will you put the order in the chat for us so that we know who's going in what order? That would be helpful.
Sure. Yes. It looks like all of our singers are here. So whoever would like to go first can go ahead, and then we can keep going from there.
Perfect. Great. Right. So terrific. That way I just know who's going. Make sure tonight when you go that you do slate. Let me know your name, where you're zooming in from, and what piece you're doing and what it's from. That's just very helpful to me. And then you'll sing through your piece. We'll give some adjustments and feedback and maybe do some of it again, even if there's time. I do like to do that and see some of the work and some of the adjustments. And then if there's time at the end, we'll also do Q&A. So is there anything else that we need to talk about at the top?
I think we're good.
Yeah, I'm excited to work with all of you. This is terrific. Thank you for zooming in. All right, hopefully so none of us have Zoom fatigue yet.
All right, so who would like to begin? Okay, Allie, go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Hello, how are you? Let me just move this chair. So my name is Allie Brault. I am from Long Island, New York, but I'm in the city right now. And I will be singing Mr. Snow from Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel.
Great, thank you.
His name is Mr. Snow, and an upstanding man is he. He comes home every night in his round-bottomed boat with a net full of herring from the sea. An almost perfect beau, as refined as a girl could wish. But he spends so much time in his round-bottomed boat that he can't seem to lose the smell of fish. The first time he kissed me, the whiff of his clothes knocked me flat on the floor of the room. But now that I love him, my heart's in my nose, and fish is my favorite perfume. Last night he spoke quite low, and a fair-spoken man is he, and he said, "Miss Pipperidge, I'd like it fine if I could be wed with a wife. And indeed, Miss Pipperidge, if you'll be mine, I'll be yours for the rest of my life." Next moment we were promised, but now my mind's in a maze. For all I can do is look forward to that wonderful day of days, when I marry Mr. Snow. The flowers will be buzzing with the hum of bees. The birds will make a racket in the churchyard trees, when I marry Mr. Snow. Then it's off to home we'll go, and both of us will look a little dreamy-eyed, driving to a cottage by the ocean side, where the salty breezes blow. He'll carry me Mr. Snow, here I am. Then I'll kiss him so he'll know that everything'll be as right can be, a living in a cottage by the sea with me. For I love that Mr. Snow, that young seafaring, bold and daring, big be-whiskered, overbearing, darling Mr. Snow.
Great. Really nice, Allie.
Thank you very much.
Really nice choice for you. So is
Thank
this a
you.
song that you do a lot or something new or?
Yeah, I've had this in my repertoire for a few years now.
Yeah, it's a great song for you. I really
Thank
love
you.
it. A couple of things. At the beginning
Sure.
of the song, what's the opening lyric that you have?
His name is Mr. Snow,
Yeah.
and an
So
upstanding fantasy.
right. So what makes you say that? What's the catalyst? What's the thing that like the beat before?
Sure. So prior to this, Julie, starts to realize that she maybe has something going on with Billy, and so Carrie's like, "Oh, I can finally tell you about this guy that I am going to marry." And Julie goes, "Well, what's his name?" And then the song starts. His name is Mr. Snow.
Okay. I think what you just showed me, that like excitement to tell her about this, the like fun of the fact that like some part of the 16-year-old you kind of comes out when you can do that.
Sure.
I think you need to add into the beginning of the song.
Okay. Sounds good.
It just
Thank
felt a
you.
little bit like you kind of pulled that moment out of the air.
Okay.
And what you just said just made me go, oh yes, I want to be in this scene with you.
Okay.
Um,
I understand. Thank you.
yeah. I thought you arced the song really nicely. And
Thank
I
you.
also will say one of the things that I usually comment on in this song, you solve without my commentary, which was, I think you added a lot of sort of your contemporary physicality, your contemporary thought process on this, rather than it feeling like it's a golden age song, something
Yeah.
proper. I like the fact that you didn't do that. I
Thank you.
think one of the things that stuck out for me that you should think about when you do it again, and I think the end of the song is perfect to use as an example for this, but when you have that like Bigby whiskered, bold and daring and all of that, be careful that you don't think of that as like a list of adjectives.
Oh,
It's
okay.
really important to like take each one and think about how they're different, how they're alike, which one's more
Okay.
important. I always feel like so many songs now is like a giant list of something, especially
Yeah.
time, you're always gonna have this big long list of items, and you really want to find a way to personalize all of them or show us like I want to know like, oh, when he's in the room she definitely calls him this one.
Right.
Right.
I love
So
that.
I'm
That's
like
awesome.
finding that story with you. So
Okay.
that I think that is really, really great. Now do you
Okay.
now what is your other repertoire, just out of curiosity? Can you tell me like something else you sang?
Sure. Classical or musical theater?
Musical theater, sure.
Musical theater. So I played Julie. So If I Loved You, Vanilla Ice Cream is something I've done a lot, of course. Um, How Could I Ever Know from Secret Garden? I Dreamed a Dream, things like that.
Good, great. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Um,
Mhm.
can you, I mean, we don't try to do the whole song again, but can you go
Sure.
back and just do that beginning and think about that
Sure.
beat before and really get us
Yeah.
into that story, and also figure out where Julie is so that your focus
Okay.
point feels, make sure, especially on Zoom, this is I call it a Zoomsicle problem, but there's been
Yeah.
so many Zoom auditions recently, you just
Yeah.
need to be careful that your chin is where it is now and not
Okay.
up so
Okay.
high that I'm not locking with your eyes the way I would in the room.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Sorry. Wait. Didn't look like it was playing. Sorry.
It's okay. Yeah, maybe just do like, get us into it and then stop.
Okay.
It's better than me shouting over you while you're singing.
Okay. What is going on? Sorry. It's supposed to give me a cue, but it is not. That's weird. 0. There we go. Okay. His name is Mr. Snow, and an upstanding man is he. He comes home every night in his round-bottomed boat with a net full of herring from the sea. Keep going, or?
That was great.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So did you feel the difference with that?
Yeah, it feels a lot more organic and not that I'm just like pulling it out of nowhere. Yeah, I like that.
And I like the fact that with that beginning came a kind of like, ooh, I have a secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like there was more room to grow too with the quirkiness in a way.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. If you could pick for you if you were going to play Carrie, how old she is, what do you think? There's no right or wrong.
I feel like I want to say like 18, 19 is where I'd probably set her. Yeah.
The way that I always say this about the teenage sort of musical theater characters is that one of the great things about playing them is they aren't quite aware of all those shady gray areas yet.
Yes, yeah.
And you get that chance. I think you can even add to that in the song to kind of have the it's all so perfect kind of moment, you know.
Yes.
The way I view you know, Julie and Carrie in the show a little bit is kind of like either I'm going to get the guy and have the perfect life, or if I don't, I'm going home and like eating a pint of Ben and Jerry's and run the TV.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Like that, like, you know, shady gray area in the middle.
Yeah.
With them. So
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's really important. Yeah, there was another thing I wanted to say. Oh, just be really careful. Here's one other thing to think about as you continue your work on this, because you've done great work on it so far.
Thank you.
Is make sure when you get to the he'll carry me across the threshold section, just be really aware of your phrasing. Because I find in that section what happens, and maybe this is like the opera director and me too, kind of coming into this, but I find like the way that it is phrased in the music, and you sang it perfectly, it's actually not exactly how you would say it as a sentence.
Yeah, I guess
and
not.
So,
yeah,
the end result becomes that's choppy thought process, and you don't want that to happen. So when you practice it, make sure that you're thinking all the way through the line, all the way through the phrase. I think that will help you.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, this is a great song. Really, really nice presentation.
Thank you very much.
Nice work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Do we have a second person in our?
Yes. Okay. So any of our singers would like to go next?
I can go.
Great. Perfect. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Jenna. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you for testing. I appreciate that.
No, awesome. My name is Jenna Carpenter. I'm originally from Boise, Idaho, but I'm coming to you from Baden-Baden, Germany. And I will be singing the Jewel song from Faust.
Okay, great.
So I lost I normally have an awesome little miroir, but I'm going to use this guy instead because it's what I got. I don't know where it went, but so we'll just pretend I got my jewels here too. All right. Qui m'éblouit, si je veux, les yeux n'ont jamais vu pareil. Si j'osais seulement me parler un moment de ces moments d'oreille. Voici justement au fond de la cassette un miroir pour être pas coquette. Être pas coquette.
Great. That was really nice.
Thank you.
Beautiful. You have I agree with the chat. You have a beautiful voice. I loved it.
Oh,
It was really good.
thank you. I'm all hyped up on caffeine. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. So
Oh,
like,
that's right.
it's all good.
That's great for 1 a.m.
Thank you so much.
I hope your neighbors agree.
Yeah. Well, I'm not in an apartment. Let's say that.
Okay.
I wouldn't do this in an apartment. I'm in a studio, so we're okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was really great. I want to clarify a couple of things, before we do a piece of it again, just to sort of think about if you were doing this in an audition. I think there's a couple things to think about with it. If
Cool.
you could hire, your favorite scenic designer out there, where would you be standing for this aria?
I think I'd be standing in a big garden, and I kind of envision like there's got to be some kind of a stand in front of her, so maybe like a well or something that she's in front of that like the jewel box is on. So I'm thinking maybe like a garden or like like a garden with a well, and it's just beautiful greenery, scenery all around. That's kind of what because she's this young, vibrant girl that's sort of being, coaxed, right, by Mephistopheles and Faust. And so
Yeah.
kind of think that like greenery, that I don't know, that like garden essence sort of defines her youth a little bit. I don't know. That's what first came to my mind.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think it adds a level of her being open and free and kind of, yeah, like,
Secret Garden-esque, but yeah.
I think so. I mean, I think you should think about that more. What
Okay.
a lot of times when I'm like coaching opera arias, especially in auditions, I'm like, where do you want this to be? Take it out of what you think it has to be and put it in your favorite location. I think that will free you up a little bit, because the idea for me physically of being outside seems so right to matching my notes, because right now everything feels here and outside is much more open, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
vulnerable. And I think that's it. I think that's right. So you need to think about that when you do it again, that openness, that vulnerability that gives you.
Awesome. Thank you.
I want to point out something you did so well in this aria, which was you really got the ideas, each idea spontaneously. It didn't feel over rehearsed. It felt like you were like, here's an idea, and you were grabbing. It was great. Don't lose that, because to me that's exciting. If you're putting it in that scenario and you're like, we don't know and you don't know what's gonna happen, that's much more exciting to me than sort of like going into it knowing. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's interesting because I'm not usually like the biggest fan of props in auditions, but I like the jewelry. I think because you're on Zoom or even your idea of the garden well, I think you need to keep everything like right in front of you where it's just a really small, like, so you don't have to kind of go out of the space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think you had a great idea with the necklace when you're kind of like it was right here, but then you showed it to us first. Like it had that moment
Okay.
like, here, share this moment with me. Because you always want to share those things with us, you know.
Yeah. Okay. It
Whereas
wasn't
the
off. Okay.
bracelets felt kind of like, oh, I'm gone. I barely saw you, I don't want
Got
to
it.
be in those moments with you because it's much more exciting. So
Absolutely.
if you c- I- if you were singing this to one person, who would it be?
Can myself be an answer?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
the wrong answer.
Yeah, I would say herself. I think because she is, a bit, I don't know, I kind of envision her as like the backstory that I have her when when I do this audition or when I've played her is that she has, maybe she's like a kind of like a not a lot of friends, kind of maybe just kind of grown up on her own, maybe an only child. And so I think she's been used to a lot of thoughts in her own head and time with herself. And therefore, when she sees this box, she's kind of like, she's not used to the luxuries of life, and she's not. So this is like this moment of, do I dare? Do I dare? Do I dare touch them? Do I dare put them on? And then obviously she gets entranced into the spell. But I think it's, to me, it's very reflective of her growth in that aria of, this kind of untouchable world that she is now just like sort of having access to.
Okay, that makes perfect sense for exactly what my note is. My challenge for when you try some of it again, which
Yeah.
is that, and I like this. I think this is a really good track to take this on. I think
Yeah.
in order to not lose some of the conversational aspect of the piece, especially at the beginning, to me, it's that conversational beginning that kind of brings us in, and then it can kind of open up. Yes, absolutely. I think you should think about singing to a younger version of yourself so that you're
Okay.
not losing the back and forth of having a scene partner. I think your younger version and your version now have a conversation, and it's pretty specific.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've learned something, or maybe you haven't, but you think you have. So are you asking your younger self permission? Are you telling your younger self you know the right answers now? Or what are you learning? And then it's going to have that back and forth, like we're having the conversation, or you would have with a scene partner. So it doesn't feel like you've kind of blocked us out of that. I think you need that element in there.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you.
So can you, yeah, let's try, I mean, obviously, so let's try the beginning of it again. Um,
Yeah.
you can figure out where you want to stop when you get to, like the end of a section. But I would love
Yeah.
to see the beginning of it again. Outdoors, the garden, everything kind of can, yeah, get all that vulnerability, yes, and talking to that younger version of yourself.
Cool. Okay. Thank you. Oh, de biche, est-ce un rêve charmant qui m'éblouit? Si je veille, les yeux dont j'en ai vu, si j'osais
Good, yeah, great. I'm gonna stop you there for a sec.
Yeah,
That was really wonderful. Did you feel the element of discovery that you added to it?
totally. Totally,
Yeah,
the whole
it was
time.
terrific. Like it really felt this incredible element of discovery. I also totally understood the vulnerability that time.
Absolutely. Well, and I felt like even with the text, that kind of context of like this conversation with herself, with the text, then I was even like, oh, that fits, right? Where she, she's saying, he'll find me. No, he won't. Will he find me beautiful? I don't know. What do you think? That kind of, it was a nice dialogue to have in addition to the text. That was awesome.
Yeah, I think you definitely keep this version and kind of work with it because that was really great. I always find that like when I'm really pulled into the beginning of the piece, I want to go on that journey. And this time I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Really nice work. Really beautiful.
Thank you so much. Nice to virtually meet you.
Me too.
Gute Nacht.
All right, thank you so much. Who would like to go next? And before our next singer, is Olivia here? Could you just send a message in the chat if you're here? All right, and who would like to go next?
Do I just say me? I was just reading.
Yes. Perfect.
Hello, my name is Siobhan Lloyd. I hail from, at the moment, Watertown, New York, where I'm the choral director at a local high school here, Indian River High School. And today I will be singing Empty Chairs, Empty Tables from Les Miserables.
Fantastic.
Sorry, I have to feng shui for a second. There's a grief that can't be spoken. There's a pain goes on and on. Empty chairs and empty tables. Now my friends are dead and gone. Here they talked of revolution. Here it was, they lit the flame. Here they sang about tomorrow, and tomorrow never came. From the table in the corner, they could see a world reborn. And they rose with voices ringing, and I can hear them now, the very words that they had sung became their last communion at the lonely barricade. At dawn, the my friends, forgive me. That I live and you are gone. There's a grief that can't be spoken. There's pain goes on and on. Phantom faces at the window. Phantom shadows on the floor. Empty chairs and empty tables where my friends will sing no more. Oh, my friends, don't ask me what your sacrifice was for. Empty chairs and empty tables. How my friends will sing no more.
Here in Madland, dreams are made.
Sorry.
That's a great ending.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Great song for you.
Thank you.
Do you like it? Do you like this song?
I love it.
Yeah, you have a fantastic voice.
Thank you.
And a lot of things happened in the song that this is a song I know really well because I've cast this show like over a dozen times on Broadway, off Broadway, on tour and so forth. And one of the things that I love that you did with the song was you really crafted it well in terms of the intensity. The build of the intensity was there. I also thought that you understood the mix of this character's guilt and this character's joy to be where he is about to go, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought that really, really came, so clearly into the song.
Thank you.
Couple of things that I want you to try when you do it again.
Mhm.
One of the things that's so interesting about the crafting of the most of the songs in Les Mis, and this one is definitely one of them, is that the beginning of every one of these solo songs, whether it's like I Dreamed a Dream or this one, needs to have a little bit more of an intimacy with the audience about it. I feel like the tendency to always oversing the tops of these songs is there, and you're going to get there. You are definitely going to show us your voice. You are definitely, I am not going to leave this audition wondering anything about your voice. I'm a great singer. So don't feel like you have to show us all of that at the beginning.
Right.
I think, it's almost a little bit more like an escalator
Yeah, absolutely.
than what you let it be, so that you really set up the story. It's kind of like that. This is the situation. This is where I am. And then you let yourself kind of build from there.
Sure, absolutely. Do you think it would be easier to do it like if I wore like the AirPods so you pick up on, because I didn't want to like start off too soft and then not pick up on the microphone. Do you think it'd be better?
Maybe.
I think that would work? Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh no, you know what? We'll just get a chance. I don't want to put us through that.
If you can, but I don't think it's
I
necessary.
don't think it's necessary. I think you're right. I don't think it's necessary.
I think, now, think about what just happened before this scene in the show.
So they just went into there was an attack from their opposition, and when I say they, I mean Maris and his friends who are a part of this rebellion. It's all young men who are part of this rebellion, and they finally get into the big attack of the show, and his friends put their lives down on the line for their cause. And so now he's sitting in the cafe where his friends used to sing and talk about revolution, and now they're gone. So he's reminiscing.
He's by himself, right?
Yeah.
If you were not talking per se to the audience in this, who would you be talking to?
Myself, or at least talking to my friends who are no longer there.
Yeah, that's what I would choose, because when you think about it, that moment is so haunting when, and you sang it so beautifully, that, oh, my friends don't ask me. I think that's it. I think you feel their presence there a little bit more than you did this last pass at the song. And that you are singing to them, you remember, I think Marius remembers in the song like, very vividly, okay, Angel Ross was the leader. He sort of dragged me into this thing. Yeah. Frontier, like, yeah, told me to, go out and get Cosette. And you're kind of having those moments. That way, there is some levity in the song. I'm not saying it's joyful, but there is some levity in the song with,
right.
You said reminiscing, that's the perfect word, like kind of remembering these great moments that happened in this place as well, which actually I think makes the audience feel more for you. I kind of call it like, in Wicked, when Glinda and Elphaba sing for good, right? If they right, exactly, because you know what, we feel that way because they never cry and we do. They feel that warmth for each other, so we cry, right? If they were going to cry, we wouldn't as the audience.
Right.
So I think you can take a little bit of that into the song. I think it's going to give you have such a stunning voice, and I kind of want to see that element of warmth and that feeling of being in the space where you were with these people who you adored so much.
Right. Exactly.
And risked so much for so long with them. And I also feel like that contemporizes it a little bit because everyone identifies with that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So I think, my biggest notes for you are, make sure that you really feel the presence of where you are, that nice sort of escalator build going on with that. Yeah, keep not losing that wonderful sense that you have of that mix of the of the intensity, the guilt, and then of course this other element of the joy of it. At the end of the song, what's the beat after? I love that you acted it all the way to the end of the track. I give you big bonus points for that. What's going on up here when the track is playing out?
When it's doing like its outro?
Yeah.
I think the reminiscing he's going through and playing through all these memories, and then while the track is going through and fading out, he is starting to realize, now I'm here all alone, and he's by himself with his thoughts again, and so at least that's the way I've kind of thought about it in my head.
Yeah, I think that's great. Just be very clear about that ending, because it's very interesting in the show, because he's going basically right from this to getting married or whatever's happening there, So you want to have that moment to very personal. I think that's it. Because if you play it that way, you won't close your eyes at the end. And I don't want you to, because you're bringing us so into your world there.
Right.
And as soon as you close your eyes, you're cutting us off from that. And I want to stay there,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you want to try it again with those notes and see what happens?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh my God, this ad is long. Sorry.
The drink.
Sorry. Okay. There's a grief that can't be spoken. There's a pain goes on and on. Empty chairs at empty tables. Now my friends are dead and gone. Here they talked of revolution. Here it was they lit the flame. Here they sang about tomorrow, and tomorrow never came. From the table in the corner, they could see a world reborn. And they rose with voices ringing, and I can hear them now, the very words that they had sung became their last communion at the lonely barricade at dawn. Oh, my friends, forgive me that I live and you are gone. There's a grief that can't be spoken. There's a pain goes on and on. Phantom faces at the window. Phantom shadows on the floor. Empty chairs and empty tables where my friends will sing no more. Oh, my friends, so ask me what your sacrifice was for. Empty chairs and empty tables where my friends will sing no more.
Nice. What did you think was different? I really like this version so much.
I think it was more. Patient, like you were talking about. I felt like it built more. I felt like it. There was an actual arc to the story. I think this one of the things that make this song work really well is that it's composed to have that arc and to build in, and it gives a lot of room for exploring character and physical movement in that process. So I think that thinking about it that way helped a lot.
Yeah, I also thought you gave the character a lot more warmth that time. I was just so drawn into your kind of much more multi-dimensional like version of this character. I loved it.
Okay.
Thank you. The ending was so good. Like I felt like that moment could have, obviously it was perfect the way you did it, but I felt like it could have lingered even longer and I still would have been with you. I still would have bought it. Like that's the way to play the end of it. I think that moment does linger in the air for him. And it's, and it's like, it's right there. One thing you can think about too, can I add just a note, like as you continue your work on this piece, I think you have to be careful when you're going through the oh, my friends don't ask me section, that you make sure not to, the way I describe it is this, it's almost like a little bit of a stop sign comes in between the phrases. Just be careful not to let that happen, because once you got out of that section, it never happened again. And I feel like what it is, and I've actually heard the actual John Caird, the actual director of Les Mis, say this in the room. So I'm stealing it from him. I won't take credit for it. Is that in that section, you really almost have to think ahead of yourself. Like it's almost like Marius is kind of like a beat ahead of what he's actually singing there. And that's how to keep that section really moving, the way that you move the other sections. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you mean like with, oh, my friends, stop, don't ask me. Is that what I was doing?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So
we don't want to feel the stop, right?
Right. So keep the momentum going through.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, so one of the things that the director always says is like, keep thinking ahead, like what's next? And you'll never have that, like that pause feeling in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's great.
Really, really good. Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thank you so much. And so our last singer, Lauren, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
There you are. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. We do have time for a volunteer singer after Lauren, if anyone would like. So just send a message in the chat. And if not, then we will move on to question and answer following Lauren's singing. All right, go ahead.
Hi, okay, so I'm Lauren. I'm from Montreal, Canada, and I will be singing When I Look at You from the Scarlet Pimpernel.
Great, great choice.
Thank you. When I look at you, what I always see is the face of someone else who once belonged to me. Still I can hear him laugh, and even though that melody plays on, he's gone. When I look at you, he is standing there. I can almost breathe him in like summer in the air. Why do you smile his smile? That heaven I'd forgotten eases through in you. If you could look at me once more, with all the love you felt before, if you and I could disappear into the past and find that love we knew, I'd never take my eyes away from you. When I look at you, he is touching me. I would reach for him, but who can hold a memory? And love isn't everything. That moonlight on the bed will melt away someday. Oh, you were once that someone who I followed like a star. Then suddenly you changed, and now I don't know who you are. Or could it be that I never really knew you from the start? Did I create a dream? Was he a fantasy? Even a memory is paradise for only fools like me. Now remembering is all that I can do, because I miss him so. When I look at you.
Nice, terrific. I love the song.
Me too.
Yeah, so what draws you to the song? What do you like about it?
So I stumbled upon it when I was trying to just like find new songs from my repertoire, and I just listened to it and I thought it was just beautiful. I think like this feeling of love that's kind of turned a little cold and a little bit like not knowing who you're in a relationship with anymore and just missing that person so much is just like, it's such a beautiful sentiment, it's such a beautiful song. I feel like, I don't know, it just drew me to it.
Yeah. So is your repertoire primarily musical theater or opera or both, or?
Oh, sorry?
Your repertoire, is it primarily like musical theater or opera?
Theater.
Or
Musical theater.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because like there's certain things to address in the song just in terms of a musical theater audition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked what you did with it. I thought your phrasing was really lovely. I agree that that sense of like loss that you put in there is spot on.
Thank
I
you.
think the thing that you do have to remember though with this song and all Frank Wildhorn is that Frank Wildhorn's a pop writer, and so it's still a pop song. And yeah, I think you have to really think of it a bit more as a pop song and how you would craft a pop song in terms of what the build is and just like the general feeling of the phrasing. You know, Frank is like sing pop. You know, if you go in for a Frank Wildhorn show, even whether it's Pimpernel, Jekyll and Hyde, doesn't matter what it is, they're going to be like, sing a pop song, not a musical theater song, because he kind of feels like his music is very highly pop influenced. One interesting thing about your voice too is that I feel like you have a huge belt. I'm not quite sure where you started belting.
So I typically do a lot of belting. I do like Wicked, I'll always go for like Alphaba, or like, you know, I do have more of a belt. I just thought that this was like a different song. I guess my belt goes through anyway. But
yeah, I actually wouldn't mind you belting the section that you almost belted.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. It was like, maybe I should keep it a little bit more, you know, but I do usually belt a lot. And
yeah,
so
I heard the belt in your voice and I was like, I wish you just belted it, because I love the sound. Like, I think that's right for Frank Wildhorn. When you get there and you are a belter, you can have the belt and love the belt. The belt.
Awesome.
You know, it's there. I think one of the things that you need to address in the song is a punctuation for a second, just because right now I feel like you were really delivering on some of it and not on others. Especially you have that did he create a dream, right? Was he a fantasy? All these questions.
Yes.
So you need to really ask these questions.
Like ask them. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you know, don't let that kind of flatten out, because punctuation in the song is really important. Who are you singing to in this song?
Like in the show, or who I
No, your scene partner. Like if you're just doing this in an audition, and you know, I'm like, Lauren, who's your scene partner? Who are you singing to?
So it would definitely be well, actually I can kind of relate to it, not so much in the turning sour part, not yet at least, but I've been in a long-term relationship, so I feel like I would be singing it to like almost like my significant other, and just kind of singing it and like trying to remember how it was at the beginning, and the nostalgia for like something so like romantic and beautiful, and now it's kind of going downhill. So maybe like to a significant other for sure, it would be like a longing of like young love and longing of that kind of thing.
Definitely. I like that idea. I mean, I would definitely sing it right to this person, because I think it ups the stakes a lot to do that.
Yeah.
What's your desired outcome?
Of the so I think it's definitely like just to get back to where it was. So I don't think that the desired outcome is to end it. It's like kind of a desperation to get it back. So that kind of feeling of like, I want this to work so bad because I remember who he was.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think that's right. I think, you know, the main note here for you comes from that, which is when you sing it again, besides just embracing that belt, looking at the punctuation, embrace the pop tune element of it. My biggest note is, and this is a note I would give you in the audition room because I love what you did. I don't think you embrace the possibility of a happy ending.
Yeah.
I think that's it. As long as you can in the song, you embrace the possibility of a happy ending.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially because you're singing right to this person.
Exactly. So to them directly, not really like,
Yeah, exactly. And there's so much at stake. And that's it. You kind of in the back of your head, just holding over this whole song is, what if this could work out?
Yeah. Okay.
It keeps us in that moment with you too. Like, you know, putting that positive spin on it.
Yeah.
Give it a try.
So do I just do like from the beginning, right?
Yeah, just start it.
Okay. When I look at you, what I always see is the face of someone else who once belonged to me. Still I can hear him laugh, and even though that melody plays on, he's gone. When I look at you, he is standing there. I can almost breathe him in like summer in the air. Why do you smile his smile? That heaven I'd forgotten his is through in you. If you could look at me once more, with all the love you felt before, if you and I could disappear into the past and find that love we knew, I'd never take my eyes away from you. When I look at you, he is touching me. I would reach for him, but who can hold a memory? And love isn't everything. That moonlight on the bed will melt away someday. Oh, you were once that someone who I followed like a star. Then suddenly you changed, and now I don't know who you are. Or could it be that I never even knew you from the start? Did I create a dream? Was he a fantasy? Even a memory is paradise for all the fools like me. Remembering is all that I can do, because I miss him so. When I look at you.
Nice. Really good.
Thank you.
I'm so glad I got to hear you belt too. It's something unique about that song. Do you feel the difference?
I did. I felt like I was trying to make it almost like something that I was trying to change it in a way, like the way I would usually do. I was trying to change it to fit something, and then I felt more open this time. So it felt good. It felt really good.
Yeah, I really liked what was at stake by singing directly.
Yeah.
The scene part. I thought the whole thing was so much better. It was a pop song.
Yeah, a pop song.
Blues, what was ethereal about it, but it didn't seem so kind of like dreamy. It was much more engaged and active, and I said yes to that choice.
Yeah, it definitely helped, like just envisioning someone in front of me instead of kind of in a longing type way. Just like seeing that person helped a lot. So yeah, thank you.
Nice work. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. So we do have a volunteer singer, Rebecca. All right, so whenever you're ready, Rebecca, you can begin.
Hi. So, is it okay if I sing an a cappella?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry. I don't know. So I'm thinking about Dora Pupile. I don't know if you just want all of it, part of it.
But you're doing it a cappella without accompaniment?
Yeah, I mean, I have the music in front of me if I need it, but.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, do part of it and then let's see where we go.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you
It's a
still hear
little
me?
soft. Speak up for a second.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay. Okay. Adoro pupille vostre vive Hopefully you heard that.
I did. That was awesome.
The last time I sang, my phone did weird stuff. So
tell us about yourself. Where are you located?
I live in Preston, Idaho.
Wow. Okay.
I've been taking voice lessons for a long time. I take from Cindy Dewey. I sing in the chorus with the Utah Festival Opera Company, with under the direction of Michael Ballum, and I also sing in American Festival Chorus with Craig Jessup.
Wow, that's I was gonna say you're like, I mean, even just hearing that much of it, you have such amazing diction. like yes.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Well, I was like, oh yeah,
I'm kind of nervous because I wasn't prepared for this.
Oh well, thank you for jumping in. That's great.
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of get a sense of you and like what you do. So you do mostly classical then?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I can do musical theater. I love musical theater, but I want to be a professional opera singer. So I'm 36 years old.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect. All the roles are now, right? So so talk about this piece. What is it about for you? What is this piece about?
You know, I just think it's really beautiful. I really like Handel's music. I mean, there are so many arias I love, you know, there's a lot of operas out there. I like the tenderness of it. I like the storyline of it, you know, how she adores his eyes and the love and everything. I'm still learning more of the text. You know, I don't have the whole thing down yet, but
I thought, I mean, I think the singing of it is beautiful. From the acting perspective, I agree. Like what you did capture some of that like love that you have, but I think there's more to it than that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you have to add some layers. Like for me, especially when you're doing this style, right? You always want to have as many layers as possible. And
definitely.
And kind of build on each thing. I feel like you need to have something that you want very specifically. What do you think? What do you want in this piece?
I think that, you know, like what you want out of life, what's important to you, what you want in life, your goals, what matters to you.
Yeah, so
Um,
find something really specific that you want
uh-huh.
and then use the lyric to figure out how you're going to get it. Because to me, that's what's missing from it is like all of it is very wonderful, but I feel like you're like sitting back and resting a little bit too much on your voice, which is gorgeous. But I want to see all the
Thank
acting
you.
in there too. I want to see
Yeah, I'm telling you, I got really, really nervous for this because I warmed up my voice just in case there was an extra spot, but I just winged it.
that was good.
But I was like, well, I don't know what song to do.
No, I applaud bravery. Thank you for doing it.
You bet.
I always think you should just jump in and see what happens, because you never know
Yeah.
type of thing. But yeah, I would love to see you try some of it again and find that thing that you want. Like you were going to use the lyric to really go after something,
Okay.
right?
Where do you want me to start at?
Yeah, well, can you start where you started? Just because that seemed like like you kind of pulled me in there. It was nice. It had like a beautiful sort of quieter tone to the beginning.
And I'm making my voice like louder than I usually would because I don't know how much you can hear on this phone. So yeah.
The volume was good for me. I was fine with it.
Okay. Because I was like, I don't think it's supposed to be that loud for the beginning, but I just want you to be able to hear. So
yeah, I was fine with the volume.
oops. Okay. I screwed up the words.
That's fine. That was already much better. I think, I think one of the things that I hear so often from musical directors in auditions is to just really, and this is your homework on this piece, I think, is to really make your points. Like figure out what the point is that you're making, make them really clearly, especially giving me a little bit more attack at the beginning of those phrases. And then I'm going to know also what you want and how you're going after it.
Right.
So, I feel like with a song, and a musical theater song, an aria like this, you have to sing to win something at the end, or at least be going after it,
Yeah.
So without losing the love, without losing the warmth, you're adding all of that on top of it.
Right. You know what? I listened to Pavarotti the other day on YouTube, and he said the attack. You have to have the attack.
Yeah, I agree. Because
Yeah.
it's a repeated theme in auditions, which is why I'm bringing it up. Just it really. Someone said to me once, like, what's the number one thing in an audition that you've seen so many auditions that stands between a singer and a job? And I will say the same thing as I said that night, which was just the musical phrasing, which is exactly what we're talking about here with attacking those types of phrases. I once turned to a conductor that I was sitting behind the table with and said, like, oh, just out of curiosity, why didn't the singer get a call back? And it was right down to the phrasing.
Phrasing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're right. And yes, I think that's exactly what to work on, where to go with this piece.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you for letting me sing.
Oh, no, I'm
you're
glad.
good?
Thank you for jumping in.
It was fun. I was
Awesome.
glad I was able to do it.
Nice
Thank
job.
you,
Thank
JamiBeth.
you.
All right, well, congratulations to all of our singers this evening. We have just a couple of minutes for a few questions. I see that we already got one question in the chat, and that is, what is the best way to get an audition?
Like can I ask like what kind of thing? Because it's different between musical theater, opera, depending what you're looking at.
If you'd like to unmute yourself and ask your question aloud, that's great. I think that was Luz Vizcarra. Okay.
Our question asker. Okay.
It wasn't my question, but I'll ask for opera.
For opera, yeah. I feel like it is very different, because with musical theater, you have so many avenues you can go and looking for an audition, whether it's, breakdown services, actors access, backstage, playbill. You have all these things. With opera, it's not quite the same. For me, when I'm looking to meet new singers and you're not managed, obviously if you have a manager, it's one thing because the manager is going to send you in there, for various things. But when you don't, it's about that networking. It's about always showing off your skills. Like for me, it's things like this, like classes where I meet people and work with people. It's inviting stage directors, inviting managers to come see you. It's like I almost never, if I'm available, if I'm free and there's no COVID, and a singer says to me like, I'm in this really interesting new production of an opera in Brooklyn or this or that, I'll always go, because that's how I meet new singers. That's how I meet new talent. But it's up to you to do that marketing, to do that like, I'm in this, or, hi, I met you at this class. Here's some more YouTube videos that I just made of me in something. So you can't be afraid to, I feel like sometimes we're like, oh, I don't want to reach out. I don't want to market myself. But sometimes when you do it, like hits our desk at the perfect time, I mean, you asked a great question, Jenna, because it's like, I was just thinking, you just got me thinking about, I worked on this production that I directed of Lucia, and this singer who I hadn't worked with in like 10 years just emailed me out of the clear blue, nothing to do with that, about something else. And I was like, oh, and I cast him in the lead. So, you just don't know when those things are going to happen. And so you can never let your contacts go. You always have to keep up that networking, that marketing, and classes and invitations and all of that. So important.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I'm curious from your perspective, you mentioned, you alluded to earlier that a lot of the auditions that have been done to Zoom, which I've been part of that world, but what is I've heard just so many people like retiring, or so many people quitting, or there's just this shift. And so I just kind of want to know what that is like for you, on the other side of the table. Like, have you seen that too? And is it mostly new faces that you're like searching for and seeing, or are some of the older faces like kind of coming back into the fold? I'm just curious.
It's a little bit of both. But I've been very surprised by a lot of things recently, people telling me that they've left the business, and sometimes it shocks me. Like, I'll reach out to somebody about an audition or a reading or something, and they'll be like, oh, I moved to, I just had someone tell me the other day, oh, thanks for reaching out, but I moved to Oregon and I'm a writer. Like, I get it. Like things change things, but yeah, I think it's different. I am seeing a lot of new people. I actually was casting a musical, and the director, he applauded me for an entire 8-hour session of no one he knew. And I think that's such a great thing, though, for all of you as young, new, like out getting out there artists. It's like, now's the time to just shine and get those jobs because they're there. And I feel like more than ever, like the directors, producers that I cast for are just open to meeting new talent because there has been that change.
All right. Another question we got from Audrey is, what is your favorite part about being a casting director?
Oh, I have a definitive favorite part, which is that I get to be the yes person in the room. You know, I get to be that person who knows the talent, who can be the person who brings in the right people to serve the director's vision. If, you know, if I'm working for a stage director, it's great to be that yes person. I'm the one who wants you to get the job. I want the day to be amazing. I also love being a casting director because I can also give you those hints. You know, I can come out in the hallway or come out in the Zoom room and leave you a note, which I've done, and saying, oh, the director's not responding to this, don't do that. Or I can give you those helpful hints that help you get the job. So we have a very like specific rapport, which I love. I would not trade that for the world. Plus, I also get to tell you when you're getting hired, which what could be better than that? You know, being like, you're getting a show. Okay, great. This is the best day for both of us because we want you to be great. And that's the best part about being a casting director.
Well, I think that's a perfect way to segue into, I think, our next question, which is, can you give us some tips of self-security during an opera audition?
Ah, yes. That's a hard question because I think every person is so different. You know, I think I don't ever like to tell people like do this or do that because everyone's really different and the way that you deal with nerves, the way that you deal with presentation is going to be different for every person. But I think my advice, which you can take it or leave it, but a lot of my friends have thanked me for this, is that you show maybe you'll like it, is that you should create an audition journal, an audition log, and say, I auditioned for this particular show, this particular opera. This is what I sang. This is what I wore. This is who was in the room. This is what happened. They cut me off. They had me sing 7 times. You know, whatever it is, director gave me these interesting adjustments. I took them. I was nervous. I didn't take them. You know, all these things that happen in the room. Then you can go back when you're not nervous, when you're not in the room, when the job's not, you know, right in front of you, and look at the whole thing and learn from it. It's like, you know, I have a friend who did this for musicals, so I'll use that as an example. But he said, you know, isn't it interesting that every time I go in for this casting director, I get a callback. Every time I go in for this casting director, I get cut off after 8 bars of music, right? And there's a lot to be learned from all of that because you know where you're spending your time wisely and where you're wasting your time. And I think that is extremely important because your time as an artist is valuable, right? My time is valuable. I want to see people who genuinely like want to be in the room, want to work with us, and I think it should be the same thing for you. So maybe
Wow.
take my journal note or not, but I think it works.
Thank you so much for that. And I guess as a way to end our session tonight, could you give us some tips as we're still kind of transitioning out of the Zoom audition world and kind of still in it? What are the ways that you believe stand out to casting directors through Zoom and to create that relationship that can hopefully lead to a job?
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard for us to get a sense of actors, singers through Zoom. You know, when you're in the room, we feel like a certain rapport with you, a certain chemistry with you that you just can't replicate on Zoom. But I think the more professional your setup is, the more confident you are in all of the things that you can control in a Zoom audition, the better off you are. I feel like when an actor comes into the Zoom room with me and it's like, oh, I'm late, my camera's not, my this, my that, you know, like control all of those things so that there's no excuses that you have to make for that stuff. That way you just seem like you're ready, you're professional, you've figured it all out. And then that way, you know, when something goes wrong, it's because, you know, of that kind of thing. And rather than, you know, rather than us complaining, like I tend to be really nice and really giving to performers, but I don't always work for directors that are. And I was in a Zoom with a director when an actor came in and wasn't ready to sing. He literally pushed them back out into the waiting room.
Mm.
He was like, bye, come back when you're ready, and like didn't even, you know, have a conversation. So, you know, lots of things to think about. I think just being professional and ready to go.
Wow. And we have a couple more minutes, so I want to get this very, very last question in from Siobhan, who says, do you see the musical theater and opera world diversifying their casting choices, for example, in race, body types, etc., in the near future?
Yes, now. I love it. I'm having the best time ever in my life as a casting director because I just feel like I have every choice open to me and I love it. So the answer to your question is yes. It is amazing. It's absolutely, it's just the most incredible thing. I just cast a production of Songs for a New World in Radial Park in Queens. It was just this wonderful, our cast was this wonderful. I felt like just microcosm of everyone in New York, and I was so happy. I loved it, So yes is the answer to your question, Siobhan. I love it.
All right. Well, thank you.
I love meeting all of you.
We love meeting you. Thank you, JamiBeth. And you have a beautiful name.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I hope I see all of you eventually somewhere. Oh yeah, let me put my email in the chat for you so you can keep in touch with me, just like I just suggested. It would be terrible of me not to.
And could you
We'll just have to go like internet stalk you, but that's fine.
Right. Could you also say it out loud? Some people will be viewing this later on in our online video library.
Oh, sure, of course. Yes, it's JamiBeth.submissions@gmail.com.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Well, JamiBeth, thank you so much for your time and your expertise, your patience, and your listening ears tonight. Congratulations to all of our singers. And again, if for our subscribers, you will be able to watch this in our online video library to recount some of these advice and moments. And I hope you all have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. You have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.